Well, good morning and welcome back to another episode of Devil's Advocate. Christmas morning. People be like, why are you doing podcasting on Christmas morning? I'm like, listen, my kids opened their presents last night. Apparently, they were like, I want to sleep in, so can we just get this over with now? So I can sleep in. So we've done our Christmas brunch and we've done all the things, and then we've got some festivities to attend because Christmas is always chaotic and it's different for everybody. Like, everybody celebrates something different. Some people don't celebrate anything at all. Some people are making their ways to church. I've never been much of a churchgoer. I've got lots of stories about that. My best friend would probably kill me if I told anybody about them because they're kind of like our little secret about our shenanigans. But she is baptized Catholic. I, however, am not. Was lucky enough to have a parent that was baptized, so I was able to go to Catholic school from grade 7 to grade 12. So I graduated from St. Francis in Calgary, Alberta, when it was predominantly Italians. So most of my good friends are Italian. And I love that. I love that. I love the Italian culture. It's super rich. Food is delicious. It's amazing. And I love their language. I've learned a little bit along the way. But when you grow up with your best friends being Italian, you pick up, which is really funny because in all the Italians that exist in Calgary, there's a lot of Calabrese. That's like I super butchered that in English, but it's Calabrese. And I actually ended up finding like the two Abruzzese people, not related, probably through marriage somewhere, because the ongoing joke is that Italians are all related. So probably through marriage somewhere, but they were both Abruzzese, both their parents were. So I found that really cool. And they do cook differently depending where you are where you're from Italy. So, and speak differently and look a little different. Some are a lot darker and some are very light. There was one girl that I went to school with. She's beautiful, blonde, blue-eyed, but had the Italian features. And I think her parents were north in Italy, but super cool. Anyway, so people going to church, people just opening presents, people having like the Griswold family Christmas. Most of us grew up with that. Most of us grew up watching that movie. It's a great movie. There's a lot of Christmas movies we all grew up watching, but that's like a staple. Everyone utilizes like the iconic terms from there and whatnot. Like, like when Clark's at the mall and he's talking to the girl with the underwear, tidbit nipply out. So, we all use that one. And then he loses his marbles because he doesn't get his bonus. And, that's a big thing this time of year is that people rely on bonuses. And, it cracks me up because bonuses should be based on longevity and productivity, and not productivity as a whole from the company, but as an individual. I think everybody should receive some sort of bonus based off of the productivity they put into the company, as well as their longevity there. So if you've put in 110% and you've been there for 3 months, I think you should get something. I don't think you should get a kick in the ass, but I think you should get something. If you've been there for a year to 2 to 5 years, I think, and you've given 110% and it's been like, you've gotten no complaints. You've got there's no real problems, and any problems that have come your way, you have found solutions for them. You're a good employee, because there's a lot of really good employees out there. I'm going to my way through this entire one. It's Christmas morning. I haven't drank yet. I'm sober still. I mean, call me in like an hour and a half. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But anyway, there's some really great employees out there, and I think they should be recognized. And, I always find it funny when you get these great big conglomerates or companies that have money. They do. And the reason they have money is because you watch them bleed it in piss poor ways. And when you bring it to their attention, like, there's a way more efficient way to do this to help you save costs, and they don't care and they piss money. And then Christmas rolls around and you've been there for like a few years and you're like, your productivity is like optimal, and they give you like a little like $500 gift card. Don't get me wrong. Everybody should be grateful for what they have. Absolutely. But it's kind of a slap in the face. if I'm being honest. The whole reason that, and I mean, and this is the way it is in trades, because I'm trades, driven, right? So you're building their company on your back, literally. And when you're doing that, time away from your family, blood, sweat, and tears, you're pouring into these projects, however you want to pronounce it. My sister-in-law and I get in this argument all the time. She says decals, I say decals. She's like, it's decals. Anyways, pronunciation, whatever. I don't want to piss everybody off. Projects, whatever. You get a sour taste in your mouth when Christmas rolls around. And it's like the only time of year where there's going to be maybe a little something extra for you. And it's not, some of you bank on it, especially when it's been displayed years before, kind of like with Clark, right? Like in the Christmas family vacation. He had anticipated a bonus based on every other year. And then all of a sudden, unbeknownst to him and the rest of the staff, the boss was like, well, I'm going to cut out Christmas bonuses this year. I kind of want to do some other things myself personally. So I'm going to keep that money for myself. That's a shitty thing to do. These people are building your company and continuously making it viable and producing optimal productivity to ensure that their livelihood and your livelihood stay in a good position. And when you do things like that, it causes a lot of chaos. Money is so emotional for people, especially this time of year. I myself included, if money starts to run a little bit thinner because there's more expenses that you even though you anticipate them all the way through the year, a lot of us, we just it's like something always happens November, December. Like you're all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm going to go out. I got this budget for Christmas presents. I got this budget. And the budgets, whatever they are to you. Okay. I mean, we can all make shit work. And I mean, the dollar store exists for a reason, right? That's good shit. Anyways, stocking stuffers. But still, you get your budgets and all of a sudden you're like, oh, where'd all the money go in my bank? And it's like, oh, remember when you got paid and then there was a payroll error? Well, we corrected it. And you're like, oh, that's awesome. Or there's like a fee that comes out that you forget. And you're like, what happened? And they're like, oh yeah, every November this comes out. And you're like, no, it came out in October or August last year. Oh yeah, no, we changed it. And you're like, yeah, like, let's not do that. And then all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're like, well, now what the hell am I doing? So I'm going to tell you something. This year, I did not get my kids anything they wanted. I got them, that's kind of a lie. I mean, it was a want, but it was a need too. I made sure I got things that were practical that they needed. I'm really big on my kids building their mental health. So I got them books like a CBT, so cognitive behavior therapy book that's designed for their age group. I got them math cheat sheets. I got them anger management, because anger management is a really big deal with kids. Kids, there's two different types of people, because kids are people. So there's implosive and explosive anger. I'm an explosive anger personality, as is my son. My daughter is an implosive personality. So and a lot of people will identify with this, will take all the bullshit that goes on in the world and she will push it down. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, hey babe, I was not very happy with the mark you got. And that's the straw that breaks camel's back. And then it's just like an unload on me. And I'm like, whoa, but it's not because I said that. It's because she can't take any more negativity, or she can't take any more drama or anything. And her anxiety has hit a peak where she now has to say something. And because I'm the safe person in that space that will hold space with her, that will sit down with her and have the conversation of what's going on, she then unloads on me. And that's something that a lot of us forget, is that when somebody unloads on you, and I'm not saying it's deserved, I'm not saying it's right, there's an opportunity for us as people to sit down with that person and be like, okay, wow, this is a lot going on here. Like, let's unpack this. This isn't directed at me. This is accumulation of shit over a course of days, weeks, months, years, maybe. Let's just sit down and hash it out. Like, let's grab a coffee. Let's just go hash this out. And you know what? I do that with my 14-year-old, and I've done it with her since she's little, because I know that is her anger type. and said she pushes it down and then blows up. So a lot of times I will try to get her to talk to me, but she shuts down, and then I got to like bribe her or I got to threaten her. So she'll tell me, and I'm like, that's not healthy. So I'm like, what do? You know what? I give her books to help her understand her anger, that it's normal, and that she needs to journal it. So my daughter has been journaling since she can write. And I buy her journals every year at Christmas. I buy her like 10, 12 journals that she can just, and she does, she uses them. She journals and journals and journals. Why? Because I don't want her going online and being like, everything sucks and I hate the world. And then everybody's like, oh my God, what's wrong? And that's where she's getting her validation for feeling like shit or getting the attention. I don't want online to be her resource to try to fix things, because online a lot of times exacerbates that. I want her to be able to self-regulate and know which people to talk to when she needs to talk to them, because my daughter's very important to me. I love her with my whole heart, and I want her to have a fighting chance, because today's generations are very different. They struggle with critical thinking. They struggle with entitlement. They struggle with a lot of different things that, you know what? We're all to blame. We're all to blame. We had our asses whooped. We wouldn't dare talk back to our families. I mean, most of us, especially if you're like half ethnic or ethnic, you ain't talking back to your families. Or if you got the old school farm boys that are Caucasian, they ain't talking back. There ain't no friggin' way. So you learn respect, and there's just that little bit amount of fear that keeps us in line. But when we were growing up, there wasn't a little bit of fear. It was all fear. It was like, I can't say it. That's why talking under your breath was a thing. You just like, you think it. Most people that I know, it's now more, it's becoming more common now, where I'm finding people that I'm like, you can't talk to yourself in your head. Like, you can't hear yourself talk when you're thinking. And they're like, no. I'm like, you can't do that. And they're like, no. I'm like, that's why I'm not crazy, because I could like talk things through in my head when I was younger, when my parents were like rah, 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 freaking out. And I'd be like in my head being like, I gotta get out of here. This is insane. I'm gonna pack some Barbies and I'm out. Just like for like a couple hours. I got to get the hell out of here. And but I'd be in my head. You can't say that out loud. You can't whisper that. You can't put it under your breath. They're going to hear you. Like they couldn't hear you crying in the backyard, but they could hear when you talk shit about them under your breath. And you were like, I was crying. You couldn't hear that? I think I broke my ankle. You couldn't hear that shit? But you could hear me say, fuck you under my breath. That's where we're at today. All right. So that's where I say, we didn't really help this generation that came up, because we were so concerned on the impacts. Because of what we went through, we were like, never again. That's not happening. But we went the complete opposite route. Not all of us did. There's still parents like me who put in the right amount of fear. My kids say F you to me, and let me tell you, I'll shoot them a look. I'm also half ethnic and a little crazy, you know? That Caribbean side to me, it's a little spicy. And my daughter calls me a spicy disaster, is what she calls me. It's accurate. But, you know, like, I mean, my daughter has said shut up to me, and I'll cock my eyebrow at her and be like, I'm sorry, what'd you say? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, Mom, I didn't say nothing. I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. And like, no, I'm not the parent's going to throw shoes and shit like that. I'll just walk over and cuff you upside the back of the head. Why? Because that's rude. And it's not hard enough to, you know, like rattle your brain. It's just enough to be like, smarten up. And that's only if they say something absolutely ignorant or disrespectful, because I don't tolerate that in my house at all. Like, everyone's like, oh my God, don't hit your child. And it's like, some kids need a little smack, you know, like, not like, here's the difference between discipline and abuse. If you go after your kids in a state of rage, it's abuse. If you go after your kids in a state of discipline where you're calm, you know, give them one little, you know, good little smack on the ass, cuff upside the head, maybe more so enough to startle them. On the ass, you got to make it sting just a little bit, not like a welt's coming or it's like red as hell, just a little tiny sting. And it's one time, and you know, you get them, and then they're like, and then they think about it. I know that if I was a kid and that's what happened to me, I'd probably think before I spoke, and I wouldn't talk back, but I sure shit wouldn't be hiding. Like, I mean, we're good at hiding. Hide and go seek. I mean, either if you were good at hiding, you were a child that was beat. Okay, you were fucking good at hiding. That's what that meant. It wasn't like, oh, well, I'm just really smart. No, no, no. You have learned how to hide because you can't run. So if you can't run, you know the old saying, can't run, you can't hide? Well, talk to us like 70s and 80s babies. We slicked that shit. We will hide. You will never find us. I mean, now you might because our shit hurts, but we can only stay in positions for so long. And then we're like, need Tylenol, some more Baxaset, shit like that. But you know, whatever. Still, I mean, if we got to squeeze in somewhere, we're scared, we're going to do it. But most of us aren't scared anymore. Most of us aren't scared of much. I think the only thing we're scared of, if anything, is just breaking laws and dealing with our judicial system because, well, nobody wants to deal with that. Every judicial system across the board is questionable at best. I know it means well, but it is still. Some of the laws are, in my opinion, a little bit archaic, especially considering they overturned one in the States. Like, that was hilarious. But yeah, just for me, it's one of those things. So, see, I squirreled there. I squirreled, right? I went into a tangent. Had to talk straight. You know, it's Christmas. Here we go. Anyway, so I digress. I hope all of you have an amazing Christmas. You're going to have a lot of different things that go on. I hope that a lot of you have something similar to a Griswold Christmas where the in-laws kind of get along. Everybody's kind of happy. For the most part, it's just family coming together and just being together for the food and love and care. Maybe not all the drama that goes on, although it's funny. But let's be honest, Christmas is a time of year where there's either a lot of joy or a lot of pain. And for those of you that are having any pain, please know that, you know, you are seen and you are heard and you are enough. And I want you to think about it just being another Wednesday. If Christmas is something that bothers you, it's just another Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. And I mean, like, not a lot's going on, but you know, our society has recognized that not everybody does Christmas. So there's a lot of places open. I know the theaters are open. I know some of the malls are open. I know there's some gas stations open. So not everything's closed because not everybody celebrates Christmas, and that's okay. And I like all the different cultures and all the different celebrations. I find everything interesting. I find Hanukkah interesting. I find it all interesting. And then, you know, the other day, my other half and I were having a conversation. He's like, you know, Santa's an anagram. I'm like, aren't your kids Catholic, bro? But then that's funny because then the argument then becomes, if that's the case, then there's no such thing as Santa in Catholicism. It's all about celebrating the birth of Jesus. And I'm like, that's fair, right? But he's not. He's like, he's agnostic, right? So some people are like, what's agnostic? It's when you believe that there's a higher power than us, but you're not really sure what it is. Which I would say I'm agnostic too. I'm more like a universe person. I believe in the universe. You know, I was that person that liked Captain Planet. Just kidding. I actually didn't really like Captain Planet. I liked Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know the whole song. And DuckTales. And Inspector Gadget. And Muppet Babies. And Gummy Bears. Too many people don't know about Gummy Bears. Gummy Bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Love that shit. Pee-wee's Playhouse. Saturday morning cartoons were bomb. Anyway, I miss my childhood. I miss that part of it anyway. I don't miss the rest of it. Anyway, so he said it's an anagram. So I was like, yeah, of course it is. This is what I tell him. This is what I'll tell anybody. Sorry. Something in my throat. This is what I'll tell anybody. Whatever you believe is what you give power to. Everybody says that. It's true. Okay? If you give power to the fact that you end up with some sort of horrible disease and you say, this is how it's going to be every day, I just have to give into it, well, what's going to happen? If you say, I don't accept this as an answer, I know my body can heal this, I know my body is going to be okay, and you give it all the right things, you give your body all the right nutritions, and you try to help it heal, and you just be kind to yourself, good chance, then that's what's going to be the case, is that you're going to make it go away, right? So whatever you put power in to is what you believe. To me, Santa is fun and it's enchanting and it's what the kids get to go do. They believe that there is a man which we know Mrs. Claus is the one that keeps the shit going. But okay, there is a man who is jolly and round and eats a shit ton of cookies and drinks milk and brings presents and loves kids. I don't think that's a bad thing. You start putting it under a microscope. Santa is a pedophile. Santa is a predator. Santa is just fucking let kids be kids. My kids went and sat on Santa's lap. They got pictures. I did. To me, it's just a sense of enchantment. That's what being a child is all about, is having fun and seeing the magic and having an amazing imagination and just seeing the world through a different set of eyes. It's not scary. That's fun and mystical. I think that's a great thing. So, I mean, as adults, yeah, we can process all this shit to death. Oh, Santa's an anagram for Satan. Well, then you should go to church on Christmas. Pray a little. You know what? I'm going to tell you guys something, and I'm going to wrap this up because, like I said, I want all of you to have an amazing Christmas because I know I'm going to have an amazing Christmas. I am having an amazing Christmas. But this one is my favorite. My kids go to school just here in my city, obviously. And that was a stupid comment. Of course I do. Anyway, they go to school with a group of kids. Their parents are Mormon, and I love them to death. I think they're amazing. And like the parents and the kids, they're all great. They've got quite a few kids. And the mother is just the most amazing human. She's just such a sweetheart. And I'm going to tell you, she said something to me, and I love her for it because although it resonates with me, and I repeat it all the time, it's one of those, she said, because she asked me if I'd come to the Mormon church. And I was like, yeah, it's not going to happen. And she was like, well, and I said, and she asked me why. And I said, well, because everyone's a sinner. Everybody goes to church and they think they're good. They're going to go wash with the blood of the lamb bullshit. Say a couple Hail Marys and go right back to their garbage life that they're going to pull the same bullshit with. They're going to cheat on their wives, cheat on their husbands, cheat on their taxes, talk shit, not be a good parent, claim to be a good parent, whatever. Like they're horrible fucking humans that sit in those pews every fucking Sunday to get repentment. And then all of a sudden, whatever. Then all of a sudden it's clear and they can go back and do all their shit all over again. And I was super mad about it like I am now. And she's like, Lisa, she's like, it's a good point. And just what she said to me. Churches are a hospital of what is it? What did she say? Hang on. Sorry. Fuck that up. She said, churches are is a hospital for sinners, not a museum of saints. Hospital for sinners, not a museum of saints. That's what she said. Took me a second. And I was like, ooh, that's deep. It's true. Still not going. Here's what it is. Anyways, you guys all have an amazing Christmas. I will probably pop on here for New Year's. You know what? I think I'm going to make the video before New Year's because this is bullshit. So, Merry Christmas. Be safe. Love each other. Don't love each other. Be nice. At the end of the day, be nice. Don't ruin days for people and don't let people ruin your day. You control you. All right, guys. Have a good one. Merry Christmas.